Councilman Jim Record will offer the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Lord, thank you for gathering us here today. Bring us together as we discuss and act in the best interest of Lake Park. We ask you to be present with our political leaders as they make decisions that affect all of us throughout this country. We ask you to bless all first responders as they perform their duties. They are the front line and they are here to protect us. Lord, we humbly ask you to hear our prayers. Amen.
Amen. Please rise and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under public comment, I'm gonna jump around a little bit from how they're signed in. We'll first hear from Julian Mercer, 3521 Lake Park Road, in regards to the swim team.
Actually, Mayor, if it's simple, I'd like to defer at that time to the swim team sponsors. So I would like to have them talk first and then let them follow with some comments after.
All right.
As far as what the comment was.
Okay. All right. We'll turn it over to Ms. Laura Ashlock.
Thank you for letting me come this evening. When I first became the swim team rep and I attended meetings for the Greater Charlotte Swim League, I found that there were a lot of rules that were keeping kids from being able to swim. A lot of the teams were getting frustrated because as neighborhoods got older, their swimmers were aging out, the neighborhoods were getting, the population was getting older, and their teams were dwindling. They were having trouble finding enough swimmers to keep their teams going. The Greater Charlotte Swim League feels strongly that it's important to let kids swim. Therefore, they have been working on ways to allow swimmers who don't live in a neighborhood with a swim team to be able to swim. The changes in these league rules have benefited the league for the teams overall. However, it has not been the case for us. Swimmers will swim with us for a summer, and then they find out now that they can go to a team like Chrismark that has just their swim team fee plus a $25 additional family fee. That fee meets the new guidelines. And so they're able to have swimmers from outside of the neighborhood come in. However, in our case, they hear that $25 and they tend to go there instead of swimming with us. We have made it so that if kids want to join our swim team, they have to join our pool. The problem is that we have a lot of kids in the surrounding neighborhoods like Bonterra, Union Grove, Shannamara. They don't need a pool. They don't want a pool. They're not interested in a pool. They have a pool. A lot of them have pools in their backyards even, but they want a swim team. Currently, if a 10-year-old wants to join the Lake Park swim team, they have to join our pool, plus a parent has to join the pool because they're not old enough to come to the pool by themselves. This means that in addition to the Lake Park swim team fees, the family has to pay an additional over $300 in fees in order for them to be able to join our pool. Our swim team is only 2 months and really a month and a half at this point. And it's costing them over $400 to be able to swim for that month and a half. But a 10-year-old who would like to join the Chrismark team would pay their swim team price plus a $25 family membership fee for non-members. And so what would cost over $400 to swim at our pool costs about $150 for them to swim at their pool for the 2 months. The proposal that is going to be presented to you this evening would allow for us to have that 10-year-old swim for a comparable price at our pool. Our season begins in the middle of May and continues until the end of June. We no longer carry into July. We only have 5 swim meets this year. Spending over $400 on our team makes this impractical for families who do not need our pool. I have a student in my class who last year at one of the festivals was there, and she asked her mom if she could swim on our team. And her mom was like, oh, sure, of course. And then when she saw the price, she was like, I just can't make that work. So this little girl comes to school every day and has told her mom every day, I am going to swim for Ms. Ashlock's team. And so her mom said, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work, but she is determined that she is going to become a swimmer and swim for your team. We need your help to really make that happen. I moved here in September of 1997, and I was looking for a home that was close to work at Metrolina and where my daughter could have a swim team. The swim team was the reason we moved to Lake Park. It is a valuable asset to our community. It takes many volunteers to be able to run a swim team. And as our numbers dwindle down throughout the years, it also dwindles down the number of volunteers we have. So this starts to exhaust people, and it's another reason why they start to turn away. In order to keep our program thriving, and in order to let our kids in the neighborhoods around us swim, we are begging you to please consider giving our proposal a chance.
Sarah?
Okay, I'm Sarah. I do not live in Lake Park, but I consider this community family for me because of the swim team. So I live on a tiny little private road in the middle of nowhere. We do not have a pool, and we needed a pool, and we had friends who swam here, and that's what brought us to Lake Park. And now my son actually swims year round because of the piranhas. And it's not just because of the pool, it's because of the people that were here. And we really enjoy this community. So the swim team is what also brought us here, ironically. See, I went off script. So we made lifelong friends in this community. In fact, my cousin met her fiance on the pool deck. So that's kind of amazing for us. And I just want to say that it's really hard for us to keep up the team as it is. We've been really lucky as a family that we can afford the pool price, and we needed the pool as a whole, but that's not the case for everybody. And as Laura said, it's hard for us to keep up with our numbers and our volunteers. Piranhas are small but mighty, and what makes piranhas super dangerous is the quantity. And we need help building our quantity, and we think that this proposal will allow us to bring more people in, and in theory, they'll fall in love with Lake Park the same way we did, and participate in the fall festival, and participate in the kite and the food truck Fridays, and we're here for all of that, for all of the fairs, and kind of giving back into the village the same way that it's given to our family. And when we speak of Lake Park, we don't just speak of the team, we speak of it as a community, and that's through the swim team. So I'd like to be able to extend that to other families that don't just necessarily live here. So yeah, if anything, we want to be able to test the waters, to get a glimpse at Lake Park life, and then maybe they'll come and they'll decide to do a day fee, and they'll come to all the festivals and put back into it. So yeah, thanks for your consideration, and we're really excited about ours next season, and hopefully some new faces and all of our familiar faces will come back. Thanks.
Thank you. Julian?
Good day, everybody. And the reason I wanted to speak last, I wanted to hear what everybody else had to say, because we did not get together on an agenda item. But it's great that what I'm going to talk about aligns with what they've already mentioned. So when I look at Lake Park, and first of all, I got to think back, and I got to ask the story. Does anybody remember Roland Martin? I got to determine which way I'm going to go with this. Anybody know Roland Martin? Roland Martin used to have thank you, Howard. We are there together. So Roland Martin was a Saturday fishing show. And one of the things he always talked about, his tagline was take a kid fishing. So if you remember, at the end of the meeting, Google, YouTube, Roland Martin, take a kid fishing. So where am I going with that? What am I going to tie that into?
Take kids swimming?
Piranhas, it's a fish. Okay, all right, we got to go there. So I look back as far as with my time with the team. The swim team started in 2010. If you notice the color scheme that the ladies are wearing, those are in purple. This color was intentional. This is the original color of Lake Park, and I can still fit into it from 2010. So thank you very much. So again, that's being active with the swim team, talking about the volunteers. I had 3 kids on the swim team initially, 1 kid now. So when you had 3 kids, you had a lot more volunteerism, and you had to be part of it a lot more. And it's become, and I've seen it become more challenging as the numbers begin to dwindle. Kids that my kids want to swim with, or that want to come swim with my kids, they wants to hear the price. They're like, Mr. Mercer, thank you for letting us know about it, but it's just way too much. So one of the things that we want to do is talk about how to utilize that asset to give kids an opportunity to swim and all those great life lessons that you get from swimming, teammates, friendship, physical activity, things of that nature. So we're here asking for an opportunity for kids to swim. And if anybody knows me, I enjoy acronyms. So we're talking about with the swim team. So with the team, together everyone achieves more. So that's the TAM part of it. Team, together everyone achieves more. But with the swim, what we're coming to do is not allow a family access the entire pool season. 6 weeks, that's like
Yeah.
6 weeks of having kids being able to come and swim on deck, come use the pool, come practice with the team. Your family, your friends do not get to participate. Swim access only for 1 kid, 2 kids to be able to swim, get all those valuable lessons of swimming. So what is that going to be? So we're asking you for something for the swim team. So everybody has their pen. This is the acronym for swim. And this is what we want you to do. Supporting water-inspired membership. That's what we're asking you to do. Supporting water for the kids in the pool, inspired membership, because the only thing that they can do with this, what we're going to ask you to do, is to swim in the pool for swim team. That's it. And hopefully that proposal will move forward. Questions, comments, concerns, items to debate. I'm not sure the protocol, but if you have any questions for me, I'm glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. We did move this item up in the agenda packet, so we'll take it up shortly, just so you guys are aware. Joe Scaldera for the HOA.
On March 29th, the HOA is planning an Easter egg hunt out at the gazebo, and they would like to have Meeting Street closed from 8 to 1. They have a resident that they've come up with a new program where they're allowing residents just to have their own event. And somebody came to them, they gave them a budget, and they're trying it. Her name is Julia D'Alessandro. I don't know if anybody is familiar with them, but they're coming out doing a lot of work with it. She's doing a really good job, and they'd like us to close Meeting Street from 8 to 1 on March 29th. So I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Joe's made a motion, Steve seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And Andrew Jones with Drive Club.
They're moving you the closer.
I appreciate you all for allowing me to come. I did bring a presentation, so if you'd like me to present that, I can definitely do so.
We can do that.
Perfect.
You won't miss me at all.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have
Let's
to.
just
I
go ahead
can,
and, here, we just unplug this. You don't need power or anything, do you?
no, sir.
You do that.
Just
If you can,
plug for the slideshow.
do you need somebody to do it, or do you have a clicker, or?
No, I can stand far back and.
Well, if you wanna,
Well, you got.
well, yeah, let me plug it in right
Click it
here.
over there. Oh, man.
You give it to me and I'll,
Yeah,
Slide it up.
absolutely.
let's not do that.
No worries. Let me get it all.
We're calling 911.
Sorry.
It's working, let's not. Push our luck here.
There you go. And then just the arrows and then we're good to go. Perfect. Again, thank you guys for letting us, or letting me come. I've met most of you guys out in the field doing either vicarious projects around the neighborhood, in the community. So I just wanted to kind of make an introduction with everybody. My name is Andrew Jones. I work for Groundworks, a larger organization that's nationwide and including in Canada. The local branch that you guys are more familiar with is the Dry Pro Foundation and Crossway Solutions Company. So I work for the corporate aspect, but my scale is across the East Coast. You guys, of course, fall in my territory. And my design, or my role specifically, is to create community action plans that, one, meet financial budgets, deal with infrastructure repairs, sidewalk repairs, anything that has a soil stability or foundation required needs. So A little bit about Groundworks is we have about 20 professional engineers across the country, centralized in key locations that we can rely on. So anytime we make a repair plan, we always send it to our in-house engineers. They review the repair plans and let us know if it is a good plan to move forward with. And then if it is something that we propose and it requires engineering outside, we hire a third party to confirm. So that way it doesn't look like an inside job. Extensive North American coverage and scale. We have about 5,500 employees across North America. So we are pretty sizable. Here locally, we have about 200. So pretty decent sized branch in this area, kind of coming out of the Belmont area. And then of course we provide cost effective and valued engineered solutions. So kind of circling back on that first point. So our customers, in this industry that mainly serves you guys is we deal with the commercial, industrial, public works, transportation, residential, and of course, government. And the one key element that we don't have in there is like the defense industry other than government. But all of those things you guys basically have in this entire neighborhood, whether it's from your public works infrastructure or your residential sidewalks, your roadways, anything of that nature, your commercial buildings. I know you guys have a town center. All of those things are places we can serve. So the product that we typically have been shooting here at Lake Park, in conjunction with Eagle Engineering, is our high density polymer, or HDP. It's used to lift pavement structures, provide soil stabilization at depth, subsurface soil compaction, water displacement and contamination of cutoff walls, underground infrastructure, void filling of CE walls, which you guys luckily don't have any of that here. This is actually a picture of me doing that in a roadway in Tega, South Carolina, providing some soil stability in a cul-de-sac. The town center had this falling into the Lake Wiley, and they called us out, and that rod is actually 20 feet deep down into the ground. So this one is kind of more geared towards you. So this is our infrastructure rehabilitation, kind of just a diagram of what we actually do. So those rods, we go from above the surface. Any of those leaking joints, your sinkholes, all of that stuff can be addressed via this method. Our main target is to stop those infiltration into those joints that they say will never leak. We all know that contractors do whatever they want whenever they lay this pipe, whether it's cold connected or they actually put in a rubber gasket. Sometimes those typically fail, cause a sinkhole, and of course this is how we repair it here. So just a trenchless application. It's a little cheaper than digging out the city infrastructure, pulling it up and applying it. So this is like a drop manhole inlet, same thing around the outside of the manhole cover. If there was infiltration or a sinkhole in the city street, we would come apply the same aspects into that. Also raise the pavement back up. We can do outfalls, dams, lateral lines, culverts, lift stations, all of that. Preventative maintenance is key, stopping those sinkholes before they happen. So Eagle's doing a really good job of identifying those leaking or problematic areas for us. And we're hoping to work with them to try to provide you guys with a quick and stable solution. This kind of gets into a little bit of roadways. You guys have quite a bit of infrastructure in your roads, whether they are dipping, sagging, have a lot of cracks through the asphalt. If you're noticing some issues in the roadways, we have solutions for that as well. You can kind of see in the image above, there's those rods that are driven down. The yellow is this material here. This is actually from a roadway and has still some of the roadway bits up under it. We shot this under a Florida DOT roadway. I pulled this out and saved it for you. This was 2 weeks ago. But this is exactly the same product that we use at any DOT location. So the question begs about the sidewalks here at Lake Park. I walked around here because I was doing another project and I had some time, and I walked around and noticed that a lot of the sidewalks are either humping or have trip hazards, or there's visible voids that you can see from the side, whether it be holes or soil missing, whatever the case may be. This is kind of the quick and fast solution that we provided. We shoot the same material that we give the DOT up under the sidewalks to raise the concrete, lift it back up and make it level. So a picture of there is on the left, using mechanical jacks to make it level. And the picture to the right is us making it level. That process right there takes about 30 minutes to an hour. And if this was your driveway, you could drive on it in 45 minutes.
We ask questions as we go or at the end?
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, either.
Yeah, how stable is, I mean, this stuff, how long does it last? Because we've been told that, you know, sometimes when you float up a sidewalk that couple, 2, 3, 4 years later, it's back down again, or it doesn't hold, so to speak.
So the product itself, we sent it off to Japan to have it tested expeditedly like some 30 odd years ago. And we do that every 10 years. And we obviously, of course, make advancement on it every year. Right now, the current stance is the lifespan on this is about 100 years. And the DOT requires us to give them raw chemicals and they test it and they get about the same conclusion.
But Al,
If you've got bad soil under it though, and the soil continues to fail, the product doesn't fail, but the soil fails, that sidewalk is still.
So the great thing about this is actually a liquid for about 8 seconds. This is about a pound of material. So essentially this is like a 1 second burst from our machine. This will give you this much, and it only takes 2 PSI to lift concrete. This right here is 7,700. So it's compacting the soil as it's raising the concrete. So it is compressing that soil up underneath. So, and then of course we offer the 5-year warranty on all of our lifting slabs.
So does that act like a footing?
It is. So we do shoot it up under footings. That video on the right side is actually us inside of a house shooting under a footing and the slab. Because we had to raise the exterior of the foundation and bring that slab back up. So these are videos showing examples of the concrete actually moving. You're more welcome to watch those or not, it's all good. But you can tell these are only 30 seconds time lapses. I mean, that's an equivalent of us spending like 45 minutes on these projects and the concrete going completely level after we're done. And on that garage, that customer drove his car in as soon as we were done.
Is that it?
It should go.
No, that's it. We gotta do.
There we go. So you're asking, well, who also does this? Well, we also do this for the city of Charlotte. I currently have a contract and I met with them yesterday to look at some things that are similar to you guys, right? So they had a sinkhole here that's represented by that stone fill. They actually took it out, dug down deep, realized that they have infiltration, called us in. We told them that we have a chemical grout plan. They allowed us to do this. So we've been doing this for a little better part of 2 years now. So they have a lot of infrastructure. They have a lot of this going on, and we keep doing it. Obviously, you can see that as a cold stacked box down there, and you can see a little bit of brick on top. The one I looked at on Monday is all brick all the way down to the bottom. So the older infrastructure, this still applies. We can still provide the same solution that we do on these. You can kind of see that foam kind of coming out of those joints where the soil had been infiltrating and causing the sinkholes. So our solution that we're offering you guys, we asked a company that we use to do replacements of slabs, like, hey, what is your price? Your typical replacement price per square foot is about $13.75 per square foot. So for example, a 4x4 is $220. When you're concrete lifting with polyurethane, you get a 5-year warranty. If it drops a 1/4 of an inch, we come back out for free. It's $9.50 a square foot. So for example, a 4x4 pad is $152. We did 6 pads out there recently with Mr. Bruce, and that whole project, all 6 of those pads was $912. So, and then we have, of course, any of the joints that are allowing water in, or if we have to cut them, it's $18.75 per linear foot. It's a hydrophobic sealant. It's the same material that we would use on runways. And then our deep soil injection process, the one that we use to fix or repair your sinkholes and inject about 40 pounds of this material. You're getting about $960 per rod. And then, of course, if you wanted us to do a casting material around the drop inlets, stormwater boxes, any of that, it's $110 per gallon. So. Perfect. I'm happy to answer any questions. I appreciate you guys for letting me present that. And I'm happy and here. I'm thankful that Lake Park has allowed us this opportunity to come in and work with Eagle and be partners in all this.
Will you be so kind as to email me that presentation so I can send this to council?
100%.
If I can speak as a follow-up comment, because I've seen Dry Pros work 2 times now. Once over on Floss Court, where they filled the gap behind the storm drain and the ground just before the sidewalk. And they took care of it, they filled it, they cut off where the foam was starting to overflow. They put in topsoil, they put in seed, and when they left, and they put hay on it, you would have never known they were there. And then with the
Seed didn't take.
well,
I'll tell you that right now.
I don't suppose you went out there with a hose. Next question. But anyhow, on Faith Church Road, where we had, the sidewalk was raised, they did a heck of a job. They used those, what do you call those, jacks?
Yeah, we silly name, we call them the jack and tag.
That works. But they even ran into a problem with the first one because it decided it was gonna split off a corner about like a diamond almost. But they still went ahead and got everything squared away, had to do a little milling on 2 ends, otherwise we would have had to keep raising it all the way down, probably to the end of Lake Park and the other way. But then they also went and picked up concrete mix and took care of that corner. And I gotta say, the work they do is impeccable.
So that stuff is water resistant, waterproof?
It is impermeable to water. And we have another product that's for the storm water. It activates in water and absorbs it. So it takes it on in the material and creates a solid.
The project we're gonna know across court, y'all are gonna cap that pipe. Y'all are gonna fill that pipe. Is it with that product or with the one you just mentioned?
It is with this one. Yes, sir. 100%. So it's extremely lightweight, but holds its value and compressive strength.
Any other questions? Andrew, we appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out. We're gonna talk about some of your work and some other options and other issues we got much later in the agenda. You're welcome to stay, or Bruce can follow up with you.
I'll stick
Next
there.
week. All right.
You gotta bring your own popcorn now.
Hey, that's fine.
In your packet that Sheree sent out, you have the minutes from the February 11th, 2025, as well as you have reviewed the February 11th, 2025 closed session. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Steve made a motion. Bruce seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda, 2 items. Anybody want anything pulled from the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Jim made a motion. Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Steve second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Changes to the agenda. I did send out an updated agenda last night, which included the change. Are there any other additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Mark's made a
I'll
motion.
second.
Bruce seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 11B moved up to this point would be the discussion of the 2025 pool fee schedule. You've heard from the swim team, you've heard from Mr. Mercer. And I think the bottom line is I'm not telling anybody any breaking news, is their numbers are dwindling. They're just looking for an option to try to help the numbers. Park and Rec discussed this at 2 meetings, in great detail. And the answer that we come up with, or that they came up with and are requesting, is that swim team access only pass. Park and Recreation did recommend a 1-year trial at a reduced rate of $40 per child per family, per access pass, so with no breaks, if there's 5 kids, it'd be $200, and so on. And 2 kids would be 80. I know there's been some discussion about this. We talked about it real brief at our last council meetings. I just open the floor up for discussion.
Well, I've had a chance to talk with everybody about it and go over some different options. And everybody's pretty much in agreement. You guys, your presentation is spot on. It does bring good value to Lake Park in itself. There are several people that enjoy the swim team, something for the kids to do. That's a big thing. That's the only thing we really have out there. I think Julian's made that point. It's the only thing that we have out there for the kids to do that's sponsored by the town. So it's good to have. I had the opportunity to be involved with them for a few years, and one of the teams that they play is Sardis Forest, which is very close to my shop. So I got to run into a lot of people that I knew there, and I'd see them afterwards, and they were telling me, God, we just love Lake Park. It is so neat. They saw it. They didn't even know about us, but that brought them in here. So that does add value to us too. I do see what the problem is with Chris Mark having the same problem, having enough people, and they came up with a good alternative for them. So long story short, I've talked with everybody, and it seems like we're real close. There were some people that thought that maybe $40 wasn't quite enough, thinking of the amount of time it's being used between not just the meets but practice too. So we came up with a number of $50. So I would like to make the motion to allow the pool to issue swim team access passes for $50 per person for a 1-year trial.
I'll second that.
Joe made a motion, Bruce seconded. Any further discussion? Questions, comments? One thing, go ahead, Steve.
You guys think that'll help out?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we have about 35 families, let's say. We need, if each family that we know of has at least one swimmer that would come on and swim for a reduced, pass like that, I mean, that would get us to the numbers that we need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the questions that was raised recently to me was, if a family does this and they purchase 2 access passes, but then at any point in the year decide to convert that to a membership, would we credit that amount paid? And to me, that's a no-brainer. There's no reason you wouldn't credit that if they're buying the access pass.
Anything to get more, we wouldn't, how would we not benefit from that? They saw it, they liked it, hey, let's stay at the pool. So then we get more money, and
More savings.
Yeah, I
can't
would
see
say
how
that
that would
no-brainer there, yeah. Most definitely do that.
Make that part of your motion.
Yeah, just add that to the motion
I'll
that,
just put it in the
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay, all right. All right, we're talking right now only about the swim team access pass. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mark?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. For the general access fees, the pool fee schedule, the recommendation from Park and Rec was to increase memberships by 3% and to increase daily walk-ups from $8 and $10 to $10 and $12. 10 being if you're a guest of a membership, and 12 if you're just a walk-up, kind of out of the blue. As well as this year doing a after 5 pass all day, every day of the week. If you arrive after 5, it would be a $6 fee to walk up to come in, which is something different that we've done in the past. That's a recommendation of council for the fee schedule. Any questions or me on that?
should we have somewhere on the fee schedule, the surcharge for credit card use? That there's a
I can.
surcharge? There's a 3% surcharge for credit
Yeah, I
card
think
use,
it should
we
be on
take
there.
credit cards now? Yeah,
Any other
You got
questions?
one wrong.
that's all I need.
Is there a motion to approve the fee schedule as presented by Park and Rec?
I'll make that motion.
Joe
I'll
made a
second.
motion, Steve seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all for coming.
Very much, you guys. Our family can be very.
Yeah.
Steve seconded it.
Now, hopefully you have enough parking for everybody.
Yeah.
Most neighborhoods don't. Yeah, that's,
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That's
Appreciate that.
really
Thanks.
excited.
All right, item 8, public safety, Deputy Tetro.
Yes, sir. So it looks like, we had 2 alarms, general calls 51, preventive patrols 548, traffic stops 20, and other self-initiated calls 82. I know the main concern is the clock tower. I was working that night when the clock tower got broken into, and I went back to see what I was doing. And matter of fact, the clock tower got broken in at 10:40, right?
But yeah,
So I'm actually doing a preventive patrol on Lake Park Road at 10:37. So I don't know if they saw me drive by and decided to come out, but I never saw anything.
right.
But I did reach out to the SROs at Parkwood and Sun Valley, not Parkwood, Portage. And just kind of keep their ear out, because 9 times out of 10, they videoed it. And hopefully we'll figure out who done it. And if anything, put a scare to them, so.
Good news is we haven't found any true vandalism other than breaking the lock and going in, but it's dangerous. I mean, it could get.
Yeah, they could have gotten hurt very bad. They made it all the way to the top and opened the hatch up top. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Good climb. And you can see on the video, there's a car that drives by that they just all, they snuck in behind the pillar, so, I mean, unless you would know to look.
There's also a couple that walked by.
Yeah, there's a couple that walked by right here, old hands, and they looked over there, so they heard them.
Well, I'll definitely be in wait this weekend, so hopefully catch them.
Any questions of Tetro? We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
get
you.
on with everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Finance office report, Cheryl, looks like they're coming around, actually.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you hang with Ken, you don't get.
Yeah, I know.
I had a little trouble with the printer, so.
Okay. So I think. Keep
Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. There you go.
Is that?
Take
is
one.
that good?
Okay.
Keep it going.
All right.
Trouble with the printer.
Does everybody, y'all all have one?
Then we got them.
Do I get one?
Huh?
I'll wait.
Okay, so I just ran the February reports. There was 1 or 2 little items I did notice. Communications newsletter. You're over budget, you're over 110,000, I mean, 110%.
What kind of newsletter we putting out?
How much we pay them all?
I do believe there was a problem with 1 newsletter
Yes.
that was printed twice, but we're over budget for the year.
What else is in that account?
Well, remember we had that 1 invoice
No.
for like the website?
What's that?
Didn't we have an
Yes.
invoice for the website?
Shouldn't that be a separate?
That should be, isn't there a website?
I thought we put the website under something.
You should have a separate line item for
The
that.
website.
I don't see anything.
I thought last year the communication was just covering the printing of the newsletter.
Printing and delivery of
and
the
delivery of
newsletter.
newsletter.
I
I don't
don't
think
see
there was-
anything for a website. I thought,
Do we
I
have
don't know,
something
we
under
talked about-
communication?
doing. We talked about a website, and I don't know, didn't-
I'll have to go back to see where we moved money, because we moved money to pay for the website.
I remember we put it in, under something else. I don't recall what we put it under, but
Because originally we had a budget for a lot more, but then we ended up not
I
changing
thought it
it,
was
so.
technology or something.
No, what didn't go to my technology? I
I thought it was-
promise you that.
It's not stormwater.
Okay, we got 2 technologies over here.
it's not Silverwater. It's not Parker.
Cheryl, how much do you recommend we move into that to cover the rest of the year?
Well, I'd have to compute it. I was kind of rushing.
Okay.
I mean, we still have it for the rest of the year. So anyway, that's a little problem area we need to work
Okay.
out.
I'll go back and do some looking.
I think that was the only one. We are at 100 well, legal fees.
Well, we moved money.
We moved some money, but didn't. Did we just move enough to cover that other attorney's bill?
No, I thought we moved for. I'll have to pull up the
We'll have to
minutes.
look at that one too. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll look at those.
We'll do some looking.
Otherwise, that's enough problems.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else, I don't think.
Yeah, we should have had the communications, I think we did put the website in with that. So you had a $4,000 budget on that, and the newsletter's only like $250 a month, right?
Mhm.
So. I don't know, that's about right, so there's somewhere else with it.
We'll go back and do some looking.
We'll look into that one.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And
I
we
don't
did-
have.
We moved $11,000 last month for legal fees.
Yeah.
That's probably not reflected.
I'll double check that one. I thought I moved it, but
Because that's in the 7 minutes they just approved.
Yeah, that's what I was just. Anything else, Sharon?
no.
Any questions? I know there was a question about the audit report
Oh, yeah.
being swapped out, and that was just due to two little things that I had found with, the names of two accounts, basically, is what it was. It was.
Yeah, it was really just the one, Steve, I sent it to you in an email. It was,
Yeah.
I think it's what committed fund balance. We had it for tennis court and it should have been for,
Basketball court.
no, it should have been, basketball didn't get done until this year. It should have been for the restrooms and picnic shelter. That we committed it for that. So that was the only change she had.
Okay.
So it's committed fund balance garbage,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, okay. So we will have new reports to give you guys, and thank you for bringing in your reports.
Let's just say, for example, somebody can't find theirs, what would that mean?
That's okay.
We're
Just
gonna
as an
beat you with
example.
it. Just as an example, we're gonna beat you with a stick.
I would just say it was, accidentally. destroyed.
My dog ate it,
Yes.
Along with
if it
yours.
was me.
All right, any other questions for Sharon? Thank you, Sharon. Stormwater update, Sheree?
Christopher Channel, there is weather, Cross Court Channel. We're waiting on locates. We were trying, Kevin scooped out some dirt on Thursday over there, trying to get that channel between the two, between Conifer and Frost going into the back of the pond. So it would dry out, even though I know we're expecting rain tomorrow. Water was sitting there. So just trying to get things where they will move so we can hopefully do some more work. But locates as of 3 o'clock this afternoon had not been done, and I made calls based on those tickets. So,
Kevin's figuring it might be the end of the week is what he said to me.
yeah, I frustrated him with it, but obviously they don't pay their operators a lot of money because their personalities. One was awesome and one was not. And then the stormwater mapping project, all of the drone work is finished. And they worked very hard to get all that drone work done before the leaves started popping on the trees. So all the actual drone work is complete. And we are working diligently with the grant opportunities. So we're continuing to see how that's gonna go.
Park and Recreation, the Christmas tree replacement and action deemed appropriate. Park and Rec, we discussed this at length at our last meeting as well. Jim, I had, prior to the meeting, right after our last meeting, asked Will to research the possibility of transplanting this tree. So he came up and actually measured it. This one's 28 feet tall now. He said it would be too risky to transplant it. If you transplanted it and it died up there, then you'd be needing 2 trees. And he just thinks with the size this one's got to, he wouldn't risk transplanting it. Will did all the research on the tree replacement. He does recommend replacing that tree with this same tree, the arborvitae green giant, in around the 15-foot height area. he got prices for anywhere from 6 to 12, 15 to 20 feet, from local tree places. The one he recommends is a company down in, Sykes Mill Road or somewhere in Monroe. All the little pieces of it come to about $7,300. That includes, that's the full project. Taking that tree down, getting the Christmas, that tree has lights, they stay on it year round, so the lights have gotta be taken down to be preserved. Tiger Tree, taking the tree down, grinding the stump, and then Lucas taking all the junk in there that's out. Probably we'll have to dig down some and rebuild with good soil to be able to get the root system out of that cedar that's up there. And then it would come back with there would be a crown there. It wouldn't be just flat. It'd be a small crown, but nothing like what's there now for sure. So that project total would be about $7,300 after discussion.
Question, does that also include electricity?
That includes $750 for some electrical work, with the hopes that there won't be much electrical work other than lowering the boxes and putting things back. That's just a number that I got from Joe.
And I have already disabled power to that. It is disabled there, so. And it's not just turned off the breaker, it's disconnected, so just in case someone turned it on.
So Jim,
I don't know what they use for line, I'm just wondering if that's, by the time you get into that moving, that we just replace the line,
As long as we don't have a problem with the lines itself, we shouldn't have an issue at all. You know, of course, we don't know what we don't know,
yeah,
but
okay.
Jim, I do have a question. So we planted the street up here, right? And we're looking down here. Was that supposed to be the Christmas tree in the future, or what was the purpose of
The
planting?
purpose of that was to move that from that tree to this tree over here and have it, but the way things planned out, it didn't work out that way. That was the idea.
Okay.
HOA was using the room for Santa and different drawings, and people were over here, you had this over there, that over here, and it was just put it all together in one spot, but this has been growing, so it's not feasible.
So when you planted that tree, how tall was it? Do you remember?
I want to say that was 12 feet.
was 8 to 10 to 12 feet, wasn't
Yeah,
It was 8.
8 feet, was it 8 feet?
And how long has it been there to grow to 28?
it? About 6 years now, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
they're
pretty fast
supposedly
growing
grow 2 to 3 feet a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done really.
Yeah, that's what I
well.
was trying to get back to. It's 15 feet. It's not that big of a tree to put out there
Right.
compared to what we have now. Is how quick would it grow? So
And I'll be
It's
honest
gonna
with you,
grow pretty fast.
I was kind of like what you just said, of maybe we should go with the 20. There were some comments, and this is certainly reasonable, of the smaller tree, you have year after year, people going to put their kids beside it, and you see that tree actually grow from where it is.
Yeah.
It was a significant jump too. The tree is actually the cheap part of this, to be honest. And I'm saying this off of memory, the 15-foot tree is about $400, $389. 20 foot was 800. It's shocking that you jump that much.
yeah, I was just thinking how quick it did grow from 8 feet to 28. It's pretty quick. So you put a 15 foot out there, it's gonna grow pretty quick.
Yeah, it was pitiful looking the first year.
It was.
Well, I remember that was the Christmas tree one year.
Right, that
Yes.
was a Christmas, I think 2 years it was a Christmas.
I just remember one year and I was like, okay, so yeah, it grows pretty quick.
Yeah, 'cause we had the COVID year that we used it too, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was real small.
the lights were the wrong lights on it. It was, the first year was very bad.
It's like Charlie Brown tree.
That's being nice.
I'm excited for it. I think it's
Yeah,
it's
I think
time, and
so.
I think it'll, our event has grown so big now. And it'd be nice to have a good centerpiece where it's actually a Christmas tree there. And
Mhm.
I did ask Will about the time of year, are we all right if this is approved to basically do it immediately? And he said, yeah, he thought it would be fine. We would pay Lucas to water it if we don't have rain. It would have to be at the top of the list of keeping it up for sure. And we would need a budget amendment or whatever amount is approved to go into park maintenance to do this, because we didn't budget for this.
you want to start with the budget amendment?
I think we should, yeah.
I'll make a motion to move, let's do $7,500.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to move $7,500 from fund balance to park maintenance for the Christmas tree.
I'll second.
Then made a motion, Bruce seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.
Now I'll make a motion to spend $7,500 for the replacement of the Christmas tree at Meeting Street Circle.
George made a motion, Jim seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next meeting is March 24th, and we'll be discussing our spring opportunities and budget as well. Planning board, Steve?
Planning board meeting we had was, 2 weeks ago, I guess, February 18th. The topics really were around the utility easement and what can be put in those easements, and then how should we go about notifying folks of those easements and what can be put in there. And it was, the planning board requested that we consult with Vaughn on developing that plan.
Good deal. And y'all's next meeting is March 18th.
March 18th.
Let's throw this in here real quick, since you said that, just to add to it. I did get a letter from Union Water with a new easement agreement to say the encroachment. It's unbelievable. They addressed it to Vincent Scaldera. They, whoever the company is they had working for them. Oh, okay, yeah. The person not signing that is who that is. And then on the actual agreement, it said Joseph on the agreement part, but then he spelled my last name wrong. So.
Can you,
Yes, I have it at work, planning to scan it to send it to everybody. I keep on forgetting,
okay,
yes.
because if you can send that to me, it would be very helpful
Yeah,
for.
it's
the
another
next
letter
planning
listing
board
what
meeting.
they listed my shed. They said the shed is an encroachment, which I have bad news for, that's been over 20 years, so. The vinyl fence is there, the vinyl fence and some shrubs.
So that's the Union County Water?
Union County Water, yes.
So just when you send them their check, send it to the wrong address.
I've gotten to, I don't even look at that bill, just automatically pay it, I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Somebody else's name.
Well,
Send it to Vincent.
we're trying to figure out in this system how that doesn't happen.
Right. Waste collection, Jim?
So we continue to have some problems. We're still trying to work everything out. They missed the whole street last week and we're trying to figure it all out. That's all I can say right there. All I can say is, those trucks are the beginning where people start, and that's what we have for those trucks.
Right.
The one-arm trucks, they're the ones that they're the next level up, so we're getting, because of what we have, we get the newbies and stuff happens. So,
I'm assuming they addressed with their employees this issue of the cart going in the dumpster and
Oh,
then
yes.
just driving
Yeah.
off with it.
And as of yesterday, there was no one had reported a missing cart.
Good deal. All right.
So I'm assuming, which always gets me in trouble,
Everybody's happy.
that everyone's cart is at least where it's supposed to be.
For this week.
Well, this week we'll find out.
Don't speak.
Anything else, Jim?
no, that's everything. Thank you.
Bruce, streets and sidewalks.
Always fun. Meeting Street is completely redone. I gotta say, Richard had a very good suggestion with doing the no parking in white and the hash marks in yellow, which is more prevalent and stands out better than the other way around. So that, I think, came out great. Only had one person, even though I had all the cones up blocking the street, came flying through.
Of course.
This son of a gun, happens every time. Faith Church Road, the sidewalks by the condos, you can see from the pictures there. You can even see where I used a different paint color to get rid of the orange caution words. Trying to never do that again. They did a heck of a job doing that. They spent, Andrew says it takes an hour to 2 hours. They were there close to like 3.5, almost 4 hours.
That one was a beast.
That one was a son of a gun to say so. But I gotta say, they use a saw blade to cut the seams. So your sidewalk is separated one panel from the other, which is excellent. Because I wouldn't even think to do that, but they know what they're doing. Spencer and his partner, whose name escapes me at the moment, they just work like a good song, they're just moving right along. Got the heck frustrated out when that one panel cracked.
But, they took care of that in the end. And they did a heck of a job. They had to do a certain amount of grinding, because as I mentioned earlier, if they didn't, they would have been going down, 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 all the way down to the next street, because it raises, and no matter what you do, it's gonna raise at one side or the other. Well, I'm very pleased with the work, I think, I'll tell you that.
One of the things I was talking to Andrew about just before the meeting is, in my opinion, this was the worst of the worst of, not the worst issue we've got, but the way this thing was, the problems there. Because the tree, the roots pushing up, you had panels on both sides that were already horizontally soft, so you gotta deal with. So you can see from those pictures today, you still have lips. But I don't think there's any way to get rid of those. This is just my opinion. In my opinion, we certainly saved a lot of money in that area, but that one was almost, the situation to me was almost bad enough that maybe we should have ripped those out and went new. And what Andrew said was that the technicians that were out here actually did the project different than he had prescribed, and had they done it that way, he thinks it would have been a different outcome. Is that agreeable? Not that we're I'm not unhappy with it, I'm just saying it was a bad situation to start with what you had there.
Yeah, so I mean, just to give it a quick context, not to take too much time or anything, but my envision was the sidewalk panel that was cantilevered up by the tree root was to have them actually stick a jack in the grass and make one piece level and just have it ramp. Instead, they went on the inside of where the lips were and actually cantered up, which caused them to do more than what I had prescribed. So because they did that, it caused them more work, and of course, caused more stress to the concrete than it should have. Next time I will be on site, we can do a lot better than this.
And again, not just that's a bad situation to start with. Just so everybody recalls, so that report there came in from a lady who tripped on that one and had to get stitches. I think 6 stitches. This next one that you see there is over on Boston. That was reported yesterday afternoon. The person that tripped there received stitches and a broken bone that required surgery. So progressively, that's worse than stitches, right? They had to have surgery. So one of the things that I had wondered, and Bruce and I talked about this today, was how do we get out there and identify these? You can see the credit card. I mean, that's 2/3 the height of a credit card. That one on Balsam is up. Now Bruce painted it orange today.
Just the edge. I didn't
understand. Yeah. So just in my mind, I'm envisioning the one we just talked about, and then you got this one, which to me is much more easy, I would think, or you should be able to do that. You're not dealing with 5 or 6 panels going up through there with a tree in one. So I'm curious to see how this panel turns out versus how the others did. Back to my point though, or my concern is how many of these do we have? We're asking the community to point them out, and they do. Unfortunately, it's usually after somebody's had a trip and fall. So there was, a thought of, did we split it up into 6 areas and the 6 of us walk it? Bruce actually said today, and this makes sense, you gotta kind of know what really is a trip hazard and what's not. It's gotta be a 1/4 inch or more off, I think is what you told me. So everybody's thinking of that maybe a little bit different. So we wondered, could we employ Groundworks to do a survey of the village of the sidewalks? Send us a list of here's where they are. Bruce could go out and confirm these are the worst 10. Here's what the price would be to fix those 10 or whatever it is, or 5 or 30. So I don't know, open that for discussion and see what.
So from what I recall in the past, we would have Precision Sidewalk would come out and they would go around, and times they did the whole town, other times they did certain sections. And they'd give us a report. They had a scale. I think it was in 1/2 inch increments of 0 to 1/2 and 1/2 to 1 and up. I don't know, Drew, if you still have those contracts. I mean, they have a good decision in there. I mean, and I believe they also gave pictures when they got to 1.5 inches or something of that nature. I don't remember exactly. they're the ones that did the work. I mean, they didn't charge us for that. It was all built into the price of doing what that work was, so. I mean, if you guys do something of that nature, great. If not, and I don't have a problem splitting the town up and walking and.
I saw a thing on the news, this has been months ago, the city of Gastonia had employed a company with a robot, looked like a dog, and it was going around and it was identifying these, and it gave a geolocation, not that we go there, just follow that as we speak, but Andrew, is that something that you guys would do, a survey of something like that? Would there be a cost? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be either or, right? Like if we do a survey, it's just worked into the cost of doing it. Obviously, that would come with like, hey, we're guaranteeing that you're gonna do this work and we're not just doing the survey to give you the survey. But most certainly it's definitely something that we can do and do quickly and pretty efficiently. We would just use Google Earth, kind of like Eagle has provided with the stormwater. Where that way, if you clicked on the dot, it would provide pictures of that location. It would show X amount of slabs, and then I can even upload a quote for that specific location. That way you could click it, pictures, quote, and decide off of that.
That's,
What kind of timeline would you think?
I believe you guys have like roughly about 14 miles of sidewalk, at least.
At least.
At least. I would say that it would probably take about a week or so. And that would be us bringing the golf cart, doing the whole survey, bringing out footage, everything. Probably about a week to do that. And then probably another week to put it all into Google Earth with quotes.
How much of a height, like the yellow strip of the credit card, are we looking for anything over a half an inch?
I think a quarter inch is what, Bruce had said a quarter inch earlier is what's technically defined as a trip hazard.
I mean, it seems to be, and sometimes, as Andrew knows, you won't see it across the whole sidewalk. Usually if the tree is over here and its root has gone underneath, that's where the worst of it will be. And as you get towards the other proportion of the sidewalk, it's almost ground level again, even though the root is still running underneath. So a lot of these situations are where there are trees impeding, saying, hey, I want more room, push the sidewalk up.
Yeah. To that point, back to the fake church road repair. It's sure we saved money. I mean, it would, for 7 panels, it would cost us $3,500 to have taken them out and re-poured them. So we spent $900, and it may have been more than that. The quote might have been more than that had you known that you'd have to do more work. I don't know, but so we saved money for sure. But I also, kind of with precision, we just kept that. We're just kicking the can down the road because those panels would come right back to them in 2 years and got another problem. So I think it's fair to keep that in mind. Is we used precision for a few years and then came to realize we're just kicking cans down the road and we started replacing them.
Right, and if we're using that material, that's sort of stabilizing the ground, stopping the water or whatever is going to happening, and will that prevent, does that material help prevent tree root growth, or how does that work with that?
It does slightly. It just reduces the growth just enough. I mean, we've done lots of city sidewalks, and unfortunately, a lot in Charlotte as well. And almost all of it, they call us out for tree roots. The easiest thing to put money into perspective is like when you're talking about kicking the can, we offer the 5-year warranty. If it does pop up, to become a trip hazard again, that's no cost to you for us to come back out and lift it. Obviously, eventually in like 10, 20 years, it gets to a point where the tree's ginormous and destroy the sidewalk, sure. But what's to say you don't spend $3,500, the tree continues to grow and bust the new concrete that you just placed.
The ones that we have done, we've taken the tree out though, so
Yeah.
you stop that problem.
For sure.
I mean, the best of all worlds on fake church would be tree removal and a flat sidewalk, because that sidewalk now, you still go up and over when you're walking.
Yeah.
And that's not nothing that you're gonna be able to control if the tree's not.
Would we want to get a quote on what it would take to do the 14 miles of sidewalk?
I have a question about that too. Did I understand that the surveying would be conditioned on the village accepting the quotes and doing the repair?
As far as like, if you wanted a free quote, right? I would be willing to speak for the company and say, hey, if you want us to do this for these next 2 weeks, you know,
I don't think they expect a free quote. I think
Yeah.
they don't necessarily want to be committed to, having to repair it, by a given vendor. But that's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see us pay for a quote, whatever that might be, and then you can go the way you want to go with it.
You're gonna pay for it one way or the other, so.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, it's-
Well,
because that doesn't tie you to.
I mean, not for anything, but for what they've done so far, here on Faith Church Road, I don't see why we wouldn't continue if it's gonna save us the cost of doing a panel with replacing, digging out and replacing at $5.50 a panel. It's gonna be a lot better.
it depends upon what we want to do. So, and I'm saying this as in, I remember this is going back 7 years probably. With Precision, they did the whole town. They came back with a quote to fix all the sidewalks was gonna be $110,000. And we said, no. We said, okay, we have a lot of problems, and we said, anything that from this size to this size is where we were going to fix, and that brought the price down to, I want to say something like 10 grand or something there. And then we were just managing that year over year over year.
Right.
Saying, hey, we want a free quote, they can turn, depending upon what they find and what we ask them to find. If we say, hey, anything over an inch is what we're gonna fix right now. That's, we have to determine where we're going, but do we wanna know what we have coming up as well? That's gonna be needed to be fixed in the next year or the next 2 years. So that's.
Is a quarter inch is that your trip hazard mark as well, or?
yeah, and that's where our warranty lies. So if it was to resettle or heave or whatever the case may be at a 1/4 inch or more, we would come remediate.
And I think, and I'm hearing, I've read through the lines of what our attorney was saying is, could you put us together a quote to do a survey of the village? And, with exactly how you said you would do it, with quotes for those areas, so that we can then look at the survey and say, we can afford to fix 1 through 7 or 10 through 12 or whatever it would be. Because we couldn't legally come into it on the front side and say, let us know what it is and we guarantee it. We're just government money, we just can't do it.
For sure.
But now this is up to council to decide if.
That's
we
what I
gotta
was
know
going
what
to
that-
with Jeremy as well, not that they want to do it, Bruce, because I agree with you.
No.
But just come from that standpoint.
The only thing I would ask is when you find a panel that needs to be remediated, if you can just put like an orange dot on it, so when I go around, or Jeremy and I go around to recheck it, we know what the sandhill we're looking for.
Sure.
We're looking at the same thing that you looked at.
Yeah, and we can.
Sounds like
agree
you're
on
doing that map you give us, right? Or the
Yeah,
map
and we can agree on like a color, so that way it's something that I expected
Yeah.
to, so we could make it easy.
And I'll be honest with you, the Faith Church Road one, aesthetically to me, I don't like the way it looks a whole lot. Didn't come out as good as I was expecting it to. But I think it was also a impossible repair. I mean, I think doing anything more than getting anything better than we had probably would have required it to all be dug up and done. So I get that, I understand it, but I'd be really interested. And I know time is in essence because these have been identified as problems and we want to get them taken care of, and we don't want to have we've been lucky there's not been a lawsuit yet on any of this. But I'd be real interested in seeing what the repair of balsam is. I went and looked at that today. And I can see everything. There's no tree around there. It's just plain and simple.
There's a tree right there.
Right.
The roots
You
running.
think the
right
roots are doing that there?
Roots running right.
I was looking at it. I didn't think that was going through there on that.
Nope.
But
Must have had your good eye closed.
no, it's possible too. But the point is though, it looks like it's an easier repair for it.
And the only reason Faith Church looks so poor is I went ahead and painted in orange caution on the 2 panels under the belief that they were gonna be torn out and redone. And after the fact that they weren't, I said, well, I gotta do something here. So I went and got something as close to concrete color as I could and sprayed over the words caution. Hopefully by the fall or winter, next winter, that will wash away and look normal.
Andrew, could you verbally give us a quote to repair Boston from looking at this photo or not?
It's honestly super up close. I couldn't see if there was anything behind. I mean, I could say it's probably gonna fall in a little less than Faith Church, I would say.
Would you want to go ahead and prove up to $900 to repair Boston and have them do that immediately, and then we can see what the product, what it looks like on an easier repair while they're getting us a quote on,
I don't think it's gonna go as high as 900, because it's just the one panel.
Sure.
And there is a roof that's going underneath it, but it hasn't pushed up against that sidewalk panel that much, as you can see. Not like we had on Faith Church where it was trying to make a tent.
Right.
You know, so-
looking at your quote though, from your presentation, I felt like that's kind of that's the coming in the door price was about $900 to do one of these. Am I wrong in what I saw?
No, I have a hard time with the one pad, because what happens is, let's just say this is an inch trip hazard, right? Well, if I lift the one pad and it takes up, and I lift those pads up, what happens to the void space behind that one pad, right? Then that becomes an unsupported pad. So the minimum of 2 pads is at least required in order to get a good result, to where it's not gonna sink back down, in our opinion.
Yeah. And that's where you're getting towards the $900, is that?
No, I
understand, you're just flagging it. Yeah, I put you on the
looking
spot.
at a picture,
Sure,
I think it'll be a lot less than what I said, but just if I had to guess off of this 1/4 inch or more picture, I'd say it's a lot.
I would certainly be interested in seeing the outcome of.
Andrew, we had talked originally with the Faith Church situation, that the root that was running underneath from the tree needed to be cut at the sidewalk. Is that probably a standard idea that we should be doing? Like this one has a root that's running under it, cut it so it cannot continue to grow, at least that root?
I mean, you can, Faith Church Road had many roots, so, when we talked about cutting it out there, it was gonna be a lot, it was gonna be a very large piece, and it was very close to the root ball. I mean, if this is just like a leg, and the tree is a little further away, then sure, we could cut it off, and that's something that we could easily do with saws all over there, or the saw that we have.
I do like that approach, Bruce, of lifting those up. I was in a town recently where they went with a place like that. They would have put asphalt on the concrete. So, yeah, it made it more of a slope more so than a tripping hazard.
And for that term.
And then,
first
and it was all
part
tree,
of
it was all
asphalt.
tree roots. And they said, everywhere you go, you see spots of asphalt.
Yeah. That's what does it.
You want to approve Boston repair?
Yeah, I make a motion, let's go ahead and do the repair on Balsam, and if need be, I can't see it going to 900, but I'd say we could approve up to 900.
Bruce?
I'll second.
Steve second it. Any further discussion on that one? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And in the meantime, y'all will work together to work on a quote for the survey. Sure. Us to.
And when, I guess Spencer's gonna come back out to do this one again.
I'll be here,
Okay, but let me know when you're coming, give me.
yeah, 2 days in advance.
2 days, advance notice, and shoot a flare up when you're on your way over, okay?
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Before we move on, just real quick. Earlier today it was brought to Bruce and my attention that there's a potential sinkhole over between the walkway between Mimosa and Conifer at a light pole. And I remember years ago us doing a storm, there's also a catch basin, a yard inlet there in that area. And Eagle is going to be, because they're calling, there's 100% chance of rain tomorrow, so it probably won't rain, but Eagle's planning on doing, they've not had an opportunity to image that area yet, but they are going to do that. What tripped the thought, knowing that you said it's hard to do one panel, it's always better if they can do 2 things at one time as one. I simply don't know at this point whether around the light pole, there's a hole and whether it has washed, because between the hole the pipe is sitting in the hole and the catch basin is literally right beside it, whether or not it's very odd that this pole is not a new pole. The pole's been there for years.
Pipe is
So,
basically sitting alongside the hole, it's not in the hole.
well,
But what's
The
happened
picture
is the
certainly
hole has
does look-
caused it to start to lean.
anyway, all of that said is I may be back to you guys as Andrew schedules this balsam repair with an emergency repair on that. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I simply don't know yet.
Yeah, I think his comment about only doing one panel is, then it's hard to do one panel, get all level,
Level.
right?
Right. Had
Well,
nothing to do with.
it's more so like, obviously, when you guys spend money, I want you guys to get your value, right? If I'm doing, in my opinion, if I'm doing one specific spot and I don't take care of the void space that I create by lifting the panel, I'm doing you a disservice. And quite frankly, it would be wasting your money. If we do two panels, it's very unlikely that we would get a void space by lifting that panel up. And then, of course, it's gonna last longer. I mean, the more material that we can get in it, the better.
And this sinkhole that Sherry brought up that I went over and met with the resident that emailed me about it is right next to a storm drain. So it's like, and the only light I had was from my cell phone, and that's like, you know, a light in the middle of outer space. I couldn't really see down in that storm drain to tell if the wall is coming apart. which
The
causes that
Meeting
drift.
Street issue, you know, Eagle has looked at that yet?
No, Andrew, I spoke to him today about it. He had a chance to get over.
No, it's Eagle, because Eagle needed to.
I spoke to Andrew.
I've been asking Ray to look at that one because I know Bruce had made mention of it when Spencer was out. Of
Spencer took
the
the
asphalt
fall.
curling into the drop inlet. If Eagle identifies the issue, we can solve.
Anything else for Andrew? All right, thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You can stay to the end, you don't have to leave now.
Oh, hey, I mean.
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Y'all have a good one.
I'm
Take
sure
care.
we talk.
And last thing there, Bruce.
No, what we have there is a light pole that bit the bullet and fell. It went down on the day that we had winds at 30 miles an hour. But in speaking with Kyle at Tapco and him speaking to corporate and a corporate representative calling me by the name of Sam, I don't have a last name. You know, they want to know, well, was there any damage to the pole? Did somebody hit it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they even said, well, it looked like somebody poured something around the pole into the ground, because the ground is all discolored. I said, no, nobody poured anything around the ground.
Yeah.
Whoever the sand person was, I sometimes wonder if it was just a switchboard operator, the way the person was talking. You know, I said, if you look at the picture I sent Kyle, I said, it snapped clean off. Nothing hit it. It just snapped in the wind. To me, it's a poor casting of the pole. So anyhow, make a long story short, which is not easy for me to do, they're going to supply us with a new pole as a courtesy at no charge. The control unit at the top, which got smashed when it hit the ground, we're gonna have to pay for that out of our budget, but they're doing it at a reduced cost, dropping the price by 30%. So that would be approximately $1,375. And then I spoke to Fast Signs about reinstalling it, because he's gonna have to dig up that old section and probably move the light back a step or two, the pole, I should say. And that's gonna be like $288.75. So we're looking at an outlay of about $1,671.25. And I think don't think we need to get much leeway one way or the other on that.
Would that come out of sidewalk repairs? Is that, there's another line item for signs, is it?
I think we have a line for
It's
signs.
streets and.
Now, when you're checking all that, the only thing we don't know, you know, the indicator lights that are on either side that flash, not really sure if they're good or not until we get the unit back up in the air and see if it's functioning. I mean, they're not broken. One was twisted when it hit the ground, but the lens and everything is not broken, so.
It's gonna be a process, huh?
Yeah.
In the past, it was all on the street and sidewalk, we were in the line item, I don't.
We have a line item for street expense, we have a line item for street signs, And we have a line item for sidewalk repairs.
That's a street sign if I've ever seen it. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. and it's all budget with the-
How much budget's in street sign?
3,000. Charge it there.
No, that's the way we should go.
So you have enough money.
No.
3,000.
Where- Is that under services? Where is that
Public services safety. Page
at?
404 in the budget.
Page 404 in the budget.
Okay. All right, is that, Bruce, is that a motion to approve that?
Yes,
Those
please.
expenses?
Yeah.
To approve up to $1,700 for repairs. Jim second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome. One last little thing I want to bring up that was brought to my attention today. There's, and I forget the gentleman's name, always picking up litter where you drive in on Lake Park, you know, at the sentence over here. And he asked, could we get a no littering sign put up? Probably not a bad idea. I just wish you could put no littering by penalty of firing squad, but we can't do that. So just to be a no littering sign and hope people pay attention. And I'm thinking we should do one on either side. Coming into Lake Park, on Lake Park Road and going out.
That'll stop them.
Yeah, they'll throw what they're throwing right at the sign on the other. But one would cost us $160 with the post and the sign and install it. If we did two, I'll just double that. It'd be $320. Round figure. Figure 330 to be safe.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. Let's get it done. You know, hopefully folks will pay attention to it. You know, I'm thinking young folks rather than mature folks.
Two signs or one is your motion?
I'm saying two signs, one as you come in and one as you go out.
Bruce made a motion to approve $320 for two signs, no littering. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joe second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Figure 330 though, because tax and everything.
I still get tax back. I'm gonna include that.
Okay. I'll take you at your word, sir.
All right, lighting and electrical, Joe.
Well, as was mentioned earlier, we had a little clock tower vandalism. Everybody knows about that. They somehow beat the lock off. Is what, at least that's our best guess. When we recovered the lock, it didn't have the combination on it, so they got it. It looks like it's been damaged, so it looks like they beat it. They went onto the top side. If you look at the one on the right, the lock that we had on there, they had a brick and hit it on the top of it. If you see the lock that I've ordered on the left, that is impossible to do on that. They grade their locks and security levels. The one we had a security level 5. The one I've ordered has a 9-10 security level. So I think it's going to prevent that from being a problem. Again, there was no damage done to it, but it sure was dangerous what they did.
Because one of them didn't fall off that ladder going up.
Yeah, how they did it, I don't know how they exactly did it, but that should put a stop to it, I would imagine.
Yeah, Joe, yesterday I walked underneath the clock tower and there was a gap, that thing.
There's,
Is
yeah.
that because of the locks?
Until I get the lock straightened and can bend that last back, the little hatch part back, yeah, it's.
I just noticed
Yeah.
that.
Ordinance review?
Last month, we talked about doing a nuisance ordinance and working on that, and I asked everybody to look over the paperwork that I sent to them, and I haven't heard anything from anybody, so I don't have any information on that yet. We would discuss that, we would look through and decide what we did want and what we wanted the ordinance review committee to work on. We're not meeting till April, so if you guys can get some stuff together and let me know what you do and don't like, or would or wouldn't like with it, you can email me so that we can take it to the April meeting. I'd appreciate it.
Technology?
Technology, the only thing I have for technology is voicemails. A few of you, I won't mention it, have a lot of voicemails in your voicemail box. Now, it shows that they're not read, but I know that they email it to you, so you get it as email. Where this becomes a problem, we get to a certain point where you're going to be full and you won't be able to receive any more voicemails. So if you can go in there and just delete your voicemails so that we won't have a full mailbox there, that'd be great.
Yes, don't be one of those people.
Oh, nothing more irritating than, sorry, this mailbox is full.
I don't even know how to.
Try again later.
Joe, I don't even know how to do this.
Special project.
We've been-
Yeah, I'll say, Joe, I got to remember how to get in there.
Since you said it, yes, you were one of them.
I figured that.
I think you have 28.
Probably all
All I
sidewalks.
can say is, oops.
The Bears.
Well, seems like that might be.
But it's not that he doesn't get them, because
No, I know.
it emails it to
Yeah.
him, so.
I answer all my emails. I don't even think about voicemail, to be
I
honest,
don't even-
you know?
Sheree, project updates and landings?
The 9th review to Public Works has been sent. So they are working on that. And they are working on their responses to Eagle Engineering on the last review that we sent them back. We had some questions and things that we didn't particularly care for. So they have paid for the 3rd review. That's something that, based upon our fee schedule, every time Eagle reviews, the developer has to pay so that the village does not. So they have been very good at doing that, and we do appreciate that.
Update on Fire Station 51?
Oh, I had the opportunity to go in the fire station last week, and it's a great facility. They're looking forward to, they're down to the punch list and the fence. And I got to see their Generacs. So it's going to be a very nice facility. And they are planning a big open house in which all of you will be invited to help hold apparently it's a tradition that you hold a hose and we'll get a section of fire hose and yada, yada, yada. So you all and Indian Trail and I guess the town of Hemby Bridge will be invited to participate.
They don't have any anticipated date as of yet, do they? Because I have people asking me.
I cannot give you that. They never thought it would take this long to do some things. Like I said, they're down to the punch list, but they're not ready for final inspections yet.
about 2030.
Do they have fire equipment to go in there?
They do. They have a ladder truck. And I got to see what the Village of Lake Park purchased for the fire department over there. It's a very nice vehicle and our seal will be placed on that vehicle.
Oh, cool.
So I sent them the seal in whatever format they needed to be able to do that, so.
Thank you. I talked to Wendy today, over at the fire department. She gave me their 2024 stats for the year, 2,582 calls, 49 times they went out and changed batteries of people's smoke detectors, installed 57 car seats and attended 47 events. And they are going to start providing us their monthly statistics again, hopefully next month is what she told me, so.
And they, Jeremy, they're gonna put a whole separate crew in that fire station?
Yeah, they've got bedrooms and.
Yeah, they've actually already they've beefed their staffing up over there to be able to move people here immediately.
Gotcha.
So, should be good. Item C under that is authorize the mayor to execute the settlement agreement with 6304 Frost Court for the stormwater issue. The documents have all been prepared and they're ready to be executed. They've been approved by our general counsel as well as the special counsel who derived all the documents. And it's all been agreed upon with their attorney that they're happy with the documents as you have been presented. With hopes to get all this executed and actually start scheduling the work over there soon. Joe mentioned to me Sunday, but I had seen it a week or so ago. I was over there looking, that drain inlet at Joe's house, and we hadn't had any rain, is still full of water. So I hope that what we fixed there drains that out. Although in the very beginning, Eagle told us we had a problem with the pipe that transverses or it goes parallel to Joe's driveway. Now they backed up on that and said we just needed some dry pro fixes out there, which we've done now. So anyway, hopefully we do this, it fixes the standing water because there's an issue.
I was surprised when I saw it on that.
But I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the settlement agreement, execute it.
Jim's made a motion, there's a second.
I'll second it.
Joe seconds. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Community information, Mark?
I was in, Charleston last week, and by the time I got back, I went, oh my goodness, is it? And by the time I tried to get a couple of people to send me the stuff, it was not gonna happen.
All right. Good deal. Newsletter information for Mark? Anything?
Should I bother putting the report, anything to you in the newsletter for the month, being that we're gonna have this?
You can, that's a good idea.
Stick it in there.
I rarely get anybody send me information on a raised sidewalk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be a good idea.
I send it to you on my.
Yeah, I know you do.
And you say send it to me on my
Yeah.
official email, so then to do that.
But yeah, if we can get residents to really, I mean, like the lady that lives right by where that panel is raised, very nice gal. I hand her credit, she's Spanish, and I think her English was better than mine. And she came out, and when the resident fell, she went out and helped her up. And she was just, I said, what, you never let anybody know?
Yeah.
She said, I didn't know to let anybody know.
Mhm.
So I gave her my card.
Well, that particular house doesn't have newspaper too, so unless they're on the Lake Park pages, they probably have no clue.
But it would be a good idea, because how else are we gonna know? If the residents are not going to say, hey, I got a problem with the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Email me.
Well, hopefully we'll know when they do, we'll get them to do the surveys and we'll know that.
Yeah, I mean, the incident with this sinkhole that's starting in the pathway between Conifer and Mimosa. The only reason I know about that is I got an email from a resident that lives at 6009. And she emailed me and wanted to meet with me, so I met with her today. And I went and looked at it before she even joined me. And that hole's like this right now, but you can see all around it. It's gonna go. And she told me that some time ago, when the leaves started to fall, she was in there and on her hands and knees pulling the leaves out. I said, not a wise idea. I said, don't do that again. I said, you can end up really hurt.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Steve, you had something you were saying?
I just think in the newsletter, we need to continue to put about call the garbage. You got a trash issue, call. Yeah, instead of not calling, people aren't calling, I think.
Call the
people need
main
to
number
call.
and then numbers.
Yeah,
people are not
six.
Cause there's, you see it on Facebook and people just don't call, and it's like, we need more people to call.
Some people feel it's not their job to call.
Yeah.
It's your trash can and you want it empty. The best thing to do is to call.
I didn't even put it in there before, but it's still,
Yeah.
still continues to come.
The other thing would be, our deputies have been walking around and, there's quite a few people that have not purchased their fishing permits. And so,
It's a monthly
please,
thing.
yeah, please put in fishing permits. Remind people that pet waste stations, to please be a good pet, a kind pet owner and pick up your
Yeah,
pet.
that's usually one of my little
Yeah.
things at the end, it's pick up the whatever, yeah.
Since our last opportunity with not servicing pet waste stations, Lucas has done much better.
Anything else you come up with, get it tomorrow. On the newsletter.
And the other thing, just it won't make it, but you could e-blast this out, is the grand opening of Unveiled is
Tuesday at 4.
4 o'clock. The Chamber of Commerce are gonna be cutting the ribbon on that facility for anyone that wants a chance to see what's inside, and
What day is it gonna be?
it's on Tuesday at 4 p.m.
This Tuesday.
this coming Tuesday, a week from
Tuesday,
today.
This coming Tuesday.
All right. Council comments, Steve?
Oh, I don't have anything this time.
Bruce?
clear. We'll say it's an early one for a change.
Yep.
I just want to thank everybody for moving the meeting to tonight. I really appreciate it. I can't make it next week, and I really wanted to be here involved with it with the swim team. I really wanted to work on that. As you know, everybody knows I talked about it. And you wanted to do something for them, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
Mark?
I'm good.
Yeah. Great. Sure. I thank you all for the work you continue to do. Look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Is there a motion to adjourn? Jim's made a motion. Mark seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Mark, you got beat up.
I know. Okay.